Hi everyone, welcome back.
Hi guys.
So today we wanted to talk to you about a single fragrance. We normally bring you a sort of selection of things, but this is something that's so special.
It's not a new release. It was
not really
released
new,
about at least a year ago.
Yeah.
But it's something we have been promising to review.
We've mentioned a couple of times, haven't we? This is MEM by Bogue.
Yeah.
And the perfumer is,
Antonio Gardino.
Gardoni.
Gardino? I think Gardino.
Yeah.
And he is an architect by trade. He's a trained architect. And I think it's says something very interesting about where fragrance it is at the moment. That we have lots of big designer releases by people who have been trained in Grasse in Paris and New York as perfumers who work and live as perfumers that are releasing fragrances and are possibly constrained by budgets and briefs, as maybe especially by briefs of big designer brands who want to have something mass appealing, and so the result is something not that exciting.
Focus group.
Exactly. That's the point. Something which has been like you come back and say no, we want it a bit more easygoing. No. Come back again when it's a bit more accessible. No, that's still a bit edgy. That's perfect. Everyone will like that. I.e., no one will like it.
Down the middle.
So this is an example of someone who's come from a completely different background, completely self-trained, and the result is...
We can smell it, right?
I think Joe accidentally sprayed some on his top just now, and it's absolutely extraordinary. So this is a fragrance that I first sampled about a year ago, and I sampled a few times, and I kept meaning to buy it, and eventually there was a sale in Bloom perfume in Covent Garden, and I went and got it, and it's just incredible. And almost, let's have a sip. But the one thing I will say about this fragrance is that almost every time I wear it, it feels different.
Yeah.
So the one thing you get from the outset is this absolutely extraordinary lavender note, and it's when I grew up, I thought of lavender as potpourri. I thought it was as old, dry, boring. Something I didn't really like. And then I eventually encountered it in things like Caron Poronhomme and Jicky and Mouchoir de Monsieur and other fougères, and I started to really enjoy it. But when I smell lavender in MEM, it's a completely different level.
It's a treatment of real lavender.
It's so multifaceted. It's not just dried lavender, it's fresh lavender, it's sweet lavender, it's this big fat juicy lavender. It's so multifaceted, it's so complex. And it doesn't feel like you're smelling a maceration. It feels like you've got the plant in front of you. Yeah. And not the dry plant, like the plant that's just grown, and not just the buds, the whole leaf, the stem.
It's every aspect of lavender. I mean, someone wrote an interesting article about this, saying that it was a good critique in the sort of chypres, fougères, and decay.
Yeah.
And actually, there is the element of decay over the flower here. So it's got the freshest aspect you can possibly get, but it's also got like the oldest lavender that's been grown and died and dried out in the sun.
It feels old and it's been for ages. And I think we come to our next point. So I included this in our 5 favourite fougères, because I said it was fern-like because it's lavender, and so it conforms to that popular traditional fougère pyramid. But one could also consider it a chypre, because at the heart of it, it's not just, even though the opening is this massive kind of swimming, incredible lavender melee, there's so much more to it. There's so many florals in the heart of it. There are animalics, there's like tonka bean and richness and sweetness at the base.
I mean, it's like a really multifaceted thing, and I think for me, I found I've just bought this on Dan's recommendation initially, and the thing I found was that when I wore it the first time, it was lavender, more lavender. The second time I wore it, it was lavender, and then almost immediately became animalic, and then spent the next 12 hours in various degrees of animalic, slightly sometimes slightly fecal, sometimes slightly.
See, I had a
slightly
different experience. When I
cakey.
remember
It was so bizarre.
when I tested it, it went quite to this white floral place, kind of slightly lily of the valley place, which I wasn't over the world of. It made me really think of your Chanel No. 5, kind of
Yeah,
that kind of indolic sheep brew school. But then I other times I've worn it and felt like a slightly more hay kind of feel, and then again I've worn it and it's felt more animalic, and it's just different every time, and it's such a complex fragrance. And I can't think of, I mean, there's nothing I've smelt or bought, certainly nothing I've bought, but nothing I've smelt recently which is as complex or multifaceted.
No, I can't think of anything. It's a real shapeshifter, isn't it? And I don't know how that's achieved, technically speaking.
No, I mean, I don't know if it's to do with, there's always an argument between using natural and synthetic ingredients, and I guess one could say that natural ingredients are more volatile, so you don't know exactly what you're going to get. So perhaps it's a question of that. I don't know. I'm not a chemist. I'm not a perfumer. I just smell things, and
but it's stunning, isn't it?
I mean, it's absolutely stunning. But it just really makes you, as you said, kind of really reevaluate the way you look at perfumers and perfumery and what people are aiming for. The fact that someone who's relatively new to perfumery, who's only made 4 or 5 fragrances, can come up with something like this as a second job.
Yeah, and a while ago I would have been in the same camp as you in terms of lavender, and I thought it was a sort of one-trick pony. And then you realise someone who's an architect by day can sit down and maybe have a different concept about the way something is constructed. And I think one thing I read about in an interview that he said was his process, which is maybe an architect's process, is of working by elimination. And it's what he's eliminated to get to the sort of bare bones of what he's after.
Yeah.
And I'd be so interested to see all the cuttings on his floor of what didn't make the grade.
In the description, we'll put a link to his, to his webpage, which is his architect's webpage, because his designs are absolutely extraordinary.
It's so multifaceted, isn't it?
I'm sorry for kind of stopping, but it's such an interesting smell, and it's so unlike anything else.
There's nothing like this.
And it's interesting. I suppose I've got about 170 or 180 kind of fragrances, and if I were to put in my kind of top 2 or 3, it's interesting that I would put MEM, and I would definitely put things from Ariel Doré, which is another very new house by a self-taught perfumer, and there's these extraordinarily beautifully composed fragrances, which demand your attention. There's so much going on, and you feel like they're not trying to make something that's extremely popular, but the result is something absolutely incredible. But the other thing I would say about this fragrance is, whilst when we wear these slightly more complex, challenging fragrances, you often feel that perhaps you just wear them for yourself. They're not mass appealing, you don't expect compliments. Weirdly, this is one that I have been complimented on quite a lot.
Yeah, likewise.
Even though I would think people in the fragrance community say, oh, it's really challenging, oh, it's really weird, lots is going on. I've been complimented on. People have said, God, what's that? That smells classy.
Yeah.
It certainly smells classy, but I'm surprised people say that, because it's so complex and there's a lot going on. But
I think the thing you can smell more than anything is the fact that it's expensive ingredients.
Yeah.
It's well put together. It's well blended.
And when we say expensive ingredients, if you compare this to Creed or Zedjoff, or even if you compare it to Roger Dove, for me this is a completely different level, even to Diaghilev or something like that from Roger Dove, in terms of quality and complexity and performance. This is absolutely another level. And also something else Joe pointed out. I mean, if you look at the presentation of this, it's got a rubber top.
Nice.
With
just a little rubber squeezy thing. That's the noise I was talking about.
That was the noise you tried to make. Really simple bottle. I mean, it probably doesn't cost very much. Very simple packaging. When you pay money for this, you are just paying for the perfume.
The money is in the juice.
You
or it
are
should
not
be.
paying for a big surge of packaging of 4 boxes. You're not paying for a Roger Dove crystal like, Swarovski.
You know, I was disappointed though, because I was really hoping that there would be gold leaf floating around, because that's essential for anything.
Yeah, for any
You've
good
got to have
smell.
gold leaf.
Yeah. And I think,
it's wonderful.
in a way, this shows confidence that, you know, he's got confidence in what is in the bottle smells good. The other thing to say as well,
Yeah.
I mean, look at the colour. It's dark amber. It's rich. You know, it's not this washed out, watered down colour. You know, you've got basically X-ray strength.
Yeah.
Fragrance.
And we should point out on the box this lovely quote as well. I don't know if the camera will focus on this, but just on the top of the box there, I don't know if this will be the right way round, but it says
Might need to come back a bit.
there. Can you see that? It says "Earth laughs in flowers." Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
We don't know quite what it means, but I'm guessing
Well, yeah, I wonder because
flowers are Earth's way of
because
laughing and
the company's called
having
Bogue, which means bug. So I wonder, is that a bug's perspective?
maybe, yeah,
Bug love
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it is floral, but actually the first thing for me is lavender and rich animalic mystique. I find it so mysterious.
Yeah, I mean,
It just never goes the
not
same
just
way
mysterious,
twice.
but enigmatic. I don't really understand it. When I wear
Yeah.
it, I don't know quite what I'm going to get.
Where are we going
I always
with this?
know it's going to start with lavender, but it could end anywhere.
And five different types of lavender as well?
I mean, that's what it says on Fragrantica, but I'm sure there's more complexity into what he's put into that.
It's wonderful.
I would say if they,
We need to check out the rest of this.
however
as
many
well.
fragrances, like 170 or so fragrances I own, this is certainly within my top 2 or
Yeah,
3
me
fragrances.
too.
It's definitely the best lavender.
Yeah.
It's definitely the best kind of herbal aromatic fragrance I own.
There's nothing even touching this now in terms of
No.
quality, originality, and when I know Luca Turin has already mentioned this in his guide. But to think that this guy is not a full-time, professionally trained
yeah.
perfumer, it's absolutely
Crazy.
staggering. It's
Anyway.
like he's hit the jackpot. We love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to say that we think that MEM is pant-wettingly beautiful.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, I mean, do everything you can to get a sample of
Yeah.
this, because it will change your life and
I
make
mean,
it
we're
better.
in London, Bloom stock these, don't they? Do Rulio stock them as well?
I think it's just Bloom. It's the only place in the UK, but I'm sure if you're in the US, definitely Lucky Scent.
It's over there. And get yourself a sample. Get yourself.
Yeah,
I'd
definitely.
say get yourself a full bottle and just
Yeah,
go for it because
but
it's so
there are
wonderful.
samples on eBay and things
Yeah.
like that, so do search them out and
It's
it'll change your life and make
Totally
your
worth
life
it.
much better. So, MEM by Bogue.
Enjoy.
Amazing, beautiful. Happy sniffing!
bye bye.